Welcome back for day 3 on your journey to right-size your life. We've already discussed the emotional aspects of right-sizing, the challenges we face, and possible steps you can take to move past them. Then on day 2, we talked about decluttering and ways to think about it and ideas to make it happen. And now comes the fun part, looking for a new home and selling the one that you're in. Let's think about your dream home. It's unlikely you'll find exactly what you dream of, but you never know. I like to start with the location. I know a woman who sold her home in D.C. and moved to Florida to be near her kids and grandchildren. But you might want a new home in the same neighborhood you're in or in a totally different city. Just remember, this is your dream home. Then think about bedrooms and bathrooms, the maximum and the minimum. Then how about style? Do you like contemporary, traditional, or something else like a beach or a mountain cabin? How about a yard, a garage, or storage shed? It's your dream, so have fun with it. At the same time, we need to think about needs and wants, which are very different. And your dream house might change a little. So make a list of needs and wants. The needs are non-negotiable, the things you absolutely need to make the best life in your new home. If a place doesn't have these, it's time to move on to another. When we decided to move, we knew we needed to live in a condo in DC, and we needed a 2.5 or 3-bedroom home. Both my wife and I work primarily out of the house, and we both need our own offices. So when I say 2.5 bedrooms, the half is really a den, which we figured could double as an office. And we needed at least 2 bathrooms, and we needed it to be brand new. These were our must-haves. The other part of your list is your wants. For example, do you want or need a yard or a garage or amenities? Or do you want a 1-level home, or do you need it? Do you want a Viking range and a Sub-Zero fridge? Well, sometimes it's hard to decide if it's a need or a want. One way to think about your wants or desires is what will make your home more attractive and comfortable. They would be awesome to have, but usually aren't deal killers if the place you choose doesn't have those. You can make another column on your list of do not wants. For me, it was I do not want a yard to maintain. I'd had enough of that. And we didn't want a single family home because we didn't want the upkeep and the maintenance. Again, take your time with this. Begin with a picture of your ideal home for your next chapter of life, and then create a list of needs, which are the must-haves, and wants, and maybe another column for do not wants. Once you've narrowed this part down, you can think about the type of place you'd like to move to. There are generally 3 options: a single-family home or townhouse, a condo or apartment, or community living. But I should add that in many cities, like DC, the 4th option is a townhouse condo, which is basically a 2-story condo rather than a single-level condo. So, when you're thinking about a new home, ask yourself these 5 questions. What's your main motivation for moving? I mean, it could be family, finances, a more manageable home, different location, or you want new friends. And it might be a combination of those. Or 2, how much independence do you want? It can have a wide range from a single-family home to an over 55 community or any other type of community living. And number 3, do you want a forever home or just a home for a few years? Lots of people will rent for a year or 2 to see if they like the new neighborhood and new type of living. What specific features they look for, like a number of bedrooms, stairs or no, or even a yard. And then, what sort of lifestyle do you want? Do you want to live similarly like you do now? Or maybe have access to lots of activities and culture? Or do you need someone to help take care of your needs? The way I've laid it out might seem like a lot, but the reality is that once you think about your needs and wants, the other things fall into place. So take it easy and have fun with this. It's your vision of your future where life will be less stressful. You'll have more freedom and possibly more money to do more of the things that you want to do. So let's back up for a second. You have a vision of your new home, and in fact, that'll help give you the motivation to begin the decluttering process. You can check out the homes on the internet and go to Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com to see what's out there. Just use some spare time to cruise around and see what matches what you might want or is close. Don't worry about prices now, since they'll change anyway by the time you're ready to move. This is just a casual way to get a feel for what's out there. At this point, it's still early in the process. You're still spending most of your time deciding what to keep and what to get rid of. So think of this as no more than a break from decluttering. It really is no more than that. Your main goal is always to first take care of what's in front of you, your current home, and the way you are moving forward. And like I've said before, this is the hardest part, and it takes time. So don't sweat the details of a new home. Just see what's around when you have a chance. So let me give you some of the most common objections I hear about downsizing. And they're really crutches, and some different ways to think about it so you can reframe your thinking. I hear, I don't want to deal with the stress of moving. Well, we've discussed those stressors, the obstacles that get in our way, and I suggest you think long term. If you don't do it now, what's going to change in a few years? I mean, really, so why wait? Plus, moving to a new home that is right for you will probably lift major burdens off your shoulders and give you a less stressful life, physically, emotionally, and financially. I also hear, this has been my only home. Many homeowners are attached to their homes because they've lived there a long time and have so many memories attached to it. It might apply to you or not, but it's hard for some people to see living anyplace else. But as we stroll down memory lane, it's important to remember the house is just a house. It's just a physical thing. You take the memories with you and create new ones in your new home. Or I hear, this is where my kids grow up. Some people who are empty nesters are ready to fly the coop as soon as the kids have moved out. But for others, they might need some time to realize they're empty nesters. Eventually, all that unused space ends up being a pain, and you realize you just don't need or use that much space anymore. So keep in mind that you take the memories with you. They don't belong to the house. You can find a new home that better suits your needs now and beyond, so you don't need to stay in your house forever. And then some people will say, I don't see the point of selling. Well, sometimes people are so focused on the effort, time, and energy involved in downsizing and getting the home ready to sell that they get stuck and never move forward. So if a major concern is money, right sizing is definitely worth it. When you downsize, you'll have no mortgage. You reap the gains of current prices, whatever they are at the time, allowing you to potentially buy a new place for cash or a small mortgage, or to have cash to invest or do anything you've always wanted to do. If you have a mortgage, you'll still make a nice profit and have extra money to pad your savings account, buy a second home, travel, or do whatever you want. From my experience, we had a mortgage in our own home, but when we moved, we cut our mortgage by 1/3 and our utilities went down about 50%. Or how about they say, I don't want to leave my neighborhood. Well, sometimes people have lived in the same neighborhood for decades or even their whole life, and they have friends and are comfortable where they are, so they might feel uprooted. But think about when you bought your house and what the area is like now. For us, when we bought, it was a smallish town with mom and pop stores and no chains. But it changed over time with high rises, glass towers, chic shops, lots of congestion, and it just didn't work for us anymore. Besides, there's a good chance all of your friends are not there anymore and new families have moved in. As a matter of fact, a woman I helped named Louise sold her large home in Maryland and moved to Florida to live close to her kids and grandchildren. And what it came down to was she and her husband decided health and family were more important than living in the same place and maintaining a large house in the old neighborhood. And lastly, I hear, I want to fill my house with grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Well, this is like trying to predict the future. Crazy enough, it brings to mind a recent conversation I had with Ray, who's only 54. He and his wife decided suddenly to sell their house a few months ago when the market was still hot. And then they decided to move into an apartment to give them time to figure out where to move to, which, by the way, is a pretty good strategy. He told me they were thinking of building their forever home so they'd have plenty of room for all the grandkids. And their 2 daughters were still in high school. So I told him, and this applies here as well, there's no way to predict where your kids will live or even if they'll have kids. So to have a home based on that dream is a fantasy. Instead, think about how often you have visitors, and I bet not every night. So why not consider the extra bedrooms, not yours of course, in your new place as dual purpose, like home office/bedroom or den/bedroom. Or instead of holding space you won't need most of the time, think about taking the family on a vacation at another location. Rent a beach house, and I guarantee you'll be surprised how fast everyone makes plans to visit you. You know when it's time to right size? when you're feeling overwhelmed by maintenance and upkeep, and if you want to pad your savings account or retirement accounts. When you're ready for a change, when you have financial or health troubles, or when you want to see more of your family. This is the time to keep going back to your list of needs and wants to find your answer if it's really time. And the time to hire a realtor is when you're ready. Well, of course it is. But what I mean is that you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've cleared out so much of the house that you can see you're almost finished. And your house is almost ready to sell. Remember when we discussed setting deadlines? Well, tell yourself you'll be ready to go in 30 days. That's actually a perfect time to hire a realtor. The market is probably very different from when you bought your house. A good realtor can come in and look at your house with fresh eye and help you determine if you should do anything in the house to improve its saleability or not. You can choose to sell it as is, or you can renovate the bathrooms or anything in between. It all depends on your sales strategy that you and your realtor decide on. 1 month gives you time for the final push to clear out and clean up the house. And it gives your realtor time to research a market and come up with a plan to sell your house. Of course, part of the plan will be price. And I caution you to keep your emotions out of this. The market will dictate what your home sells for. And too often, emotions attached to the home cause the seller to believe the house will sell for more. And overpricing a home is the worst thing you can do in this market. Once the home hits the market, the sale becomes just a transaction, a business decision based on market conditions. So now you can start seriously looking for your new home. Depending on where you want to move, remember location was the number one criteria. You may need to hire another agent if you're moving outside the area. But if you are staying local, oftentimes, but not always, the same realtor can work with you selling your new home and buying or renting a new one. A good realtor is usually able to refer you to an agent elsewhere. For example, I can help someone sell their home in Maryland and buy a new one in DC. But if someone wanted to sell their home in Maryland and move to Orlando, I would call Bob Kalakti, my realtor friend there, on their behalf. When you feel the time is really right to start looking, you need to make sure you are financially qualified. So you should check your credit. Renting is a good option if you want to get a feel for a new town or different lifestyle. But if you plan on buying, you need to speak to a mortgage lender. Your realtor should be able to refer you to a few she or he has worked with. And this is critical because sellers will not consider your offer without it or other proof of funds that show you can actually buy their home. And I hope you wouldn't either. It also gives you a good guideline about the price range of homes you should be looking at. So now you'll have a pretty good idea of your outcome. You have the sales price, and now you have a good feeling for what you want to spend on where you want to live. And if there's extra money, you can invest, travel, or do whatever you want. Let me just say one last thing. That the one thing that I wish I didn't have to hear is when people tell me they're thinking about downsizing, but I know, but I'm kind of busy right now. Because they're robbing themselves of because they're robbing themselves of what they could be. I mean, we're all busy, and there's never going to be a convenient time to change your life. But without the courage and initiative to take the first step, in 5 years, they'll be left with two questions. Why did I wait? And what if I had done it? So I hope our 3 days together have been helpful. And if you're still thinking about downsizing, it might be hard to decide how and when to do it on your own. So you might need someone to guide you, and I'd love to be your guide. So I've developed a course to a real deep dive into downsizing. You can sign up for just $379, and the 4-module course covers the stressors and emotions that are probably blocking your way and ways to remove them, and the detailed actions that you have to take. We'll cover decluttering and ways to overcome the feelings of being overwhelmed with detailed ideas to help you move toward clearing out your home. And we'll go over what it takes to get your current home ready to sell and a path to moving to a great new home and an exciting new chapter in your life. Each module will include lists and worksheets and even a roadmap for buying your new home if that's the route you choose. So here's the deal. If you sign up for $379 in the next 48 hours, I'll email you this guide to buying a home today in this market. It covers in detail what it takes to successfully buy a home, There's even a roadmap to guide you through the process. It looks like this. And inside, I'll get it to it, is the roadmap to buying a home. I'll email this to you for free. And as an added bonus, I'll send you my real estate guide to a stress-free life. Here are a few of the chapters just to give you an idea of what it covers. So this is the book. One chapter is Home is Where the Heart Is. Another is What are you looking for in your next home? Is selling right for you? Understanding the home selling process and what you need versus what you want. The book is totally free, and I'll even pay the postage. And my guarantee is this: if in the next 30 days you decide the course is not for you, I'll send your money back and you keep the book. So we've covered a lot in a short amount of time. And now you must be thinking that maybe your house is too big, or maybe too much hassle, or there's too much stuff accumulated over the years, or finances, health, or family are causing issues and stress. Then maybe it's time for you to think about right-sizing your life. Sometimes all we really need is a push or a guide to move us forward. Someone to help you get past the roadblocks standing in your way. And I would like to be that person for you. So if you'd like me to be your guide on this journey, sign up for my course now, get my free book, and begin the journey to a great new life that's just right for you. And finally, I ask you in all sincerity, why not now? Remember, procrastination is the fear of an unknown outcome. Well, we know the ultimate outcome of downsizing is to move, but the big question is how to get there. Let's figure this out together. I mean, if you don't take the first step, what's going to change for you in the future if you wait? And like we said earlier, if you don't do something now, what will it look like for you down the road in 5 years? So sign up now, no more procrastination. Buy the course in the next 48 hours and get my free book, and it's time to get started.